Penetration testing is one of the most direct and visible demonstrations of security assurance in a SOC 2 program. It validates the strength of implemented controls under real-world attack scenarios and provides evidence that vulnerabilities are discovered, managed, and resolved in a structured, auditable manner. Under the SOC 2 security and availability categories, pen testing links directly to CC7, monitoring and vulnerability management, and CC9, incident response and communication. A mature program covers not only test execution, but also the full life cycle of scoping, reporting, remediation, and validation. When run on a repeatable cadence, quarterly or annually, these activities offer continuous assurance that defenses are effective and that management responds promptly to discovered weaknesses. Planning each engagement carefully minimizes disruption and ensures results are actionable. Objectives must be clear, whether the test focuses on external exploitation, privilege escalation, lateral movement, or data exfiltration simulations. Teams should agree on timing, communication methods, and escalation procedures for critical findings. Change freezes and backup snapshots help preserve system stability during testing. Defining tools, data handling procedures, and thresholds for acceptable impact prevents confusion. Every engagement must include a signed authorization letter granting explicit permission to test. This document is both a legal safeguard and a required audit artifact demonstrating formal approval and risk acknowledgement by management. Tester independence is a hallmark of credible assurance. SOC 2 expects that penetration testing be performed by qualified individuals who are not involved in system development or operations. Third-party assessors or internal teams operating under strict segregation of duties meet this requirement. Verifying tester qualifications, such as OSCP, CISSP, or CREST certifications, confirms professional competency. Each engagement should include an independent statement certifying the absence of conflicts of interest. Maintaining these records provides auditors with clear proof that tests were conducted impartially and in accordance with accepted ethical standards, reinforcing the integrity of the entire assessment process. A structured methodology ensures consistency across engagements and reproducibility of results. The testing process should follow recognized frameworks such as the OWASP Top 10, Penetration Testing Execution Standard, PTES, or NIST SP 800-115. Typical phases include reconnaissance, enumeration, exploitation, and post-exploitation validation. Each step should assess common control points such as authentication, authorization, encryption, and input validation. For modern architectures, coverage must extend beyond web and network assets to include APIs, cloud services, and infrastructure as code pipelines. Applying standard methodologies guarantees completeness while allowing tests to evolve with emerging technologies and threats. Clear rules of engagement prevent misunderstandings and manage risk during live testing. All test windows must be pre-approved, with defined notification procedures for both the testers and the organization's monitoring team. Data exfiltration or privilege escalation should be limited to controlled proof only, enough to demonstrate exposure without compromising data integrity. Logging teams must be aware of the exercise to differentiate real attacks from simulations, preventing false incident escalation. Chain of custody logs should capture timestamps, activities, and responsible parties throughout the engagement. This documentation serves as both operational record and SOC 2 evidence, proving that testing was conducted safely and traceably. Evidence of execution transforms test activities into defensible audit records. Organizations should retain test plans, raw output, screenshots, and logs, all cryptographically hashed to verify authenticity. Each finding must include severity classification, exploit description, and affected component details. Correlating findings to system identifiers, such as server names or application modules, ensures traceability for remediation. Maintaining this evidence in secure storage with restricted access demonstrates both the existence and integrity of the test results, satisfying SOC 2's requirement for documented proof of independent control validation. Classifying findings properly ensures that risk response efforts are prioritized and consistent. Vulnerabilities should be scored using standardized systems such as CVSS v3 or OWASP risk ratings, reflecting likelihood and potential impact. Every issue must have an assigned business owner responsible for remediation, with priority levels that align to defined SLAs. A consolidated vulnerability register acts as the authoritative record, listing each issue, its severity, owner, and resolution status. This register connects operational security management with governance oversight, allowing both auditors and executives to see progress and patterns over time. The remediation workflow transforms findings into improvements. For each confirmed issue, create a formal ticket that includes description, risk score, and recommended fix. Assign ownership to system or application teams with due dates proportionate to severity. Critical vulnerabilities within days, low-risk issues within defined maintenance cycles. Verification of closure must include proof of fix, such as configuration changes, code commits, or updated scan results. Centralized evidence storage ties each closed ticket to its original finding, maintaining a seamless chain from discovery to resolution. This process demonstrates not only identification, but full lifecycle management of vulnerabilities, a cornerstone of SOC 2 CC7 control effectiveness. Validation and retesting close the assurance loop. High-risk findings should undergo retesting within 30 to 60 days to confirm the vulnerability is fully remediated and not merely mitigated. Comparing new test data with the original findings provides measurable evidence of improvement. Successful retests confirm the exploit is no longer reproducible, and all results should be attached to the closure ticket for audit review. These validation steps prove that the organization doesn't just acknowledge risks, but actively resolves them within documented timeframes, ensuring that control operation translates into tangible security gains. Reporting deliverables bridge technical findings with executive understanding. A comprehensive report should begin with an executive summary that contextualizes overall risk posture, followed by a detailed technical appendix for remediation teams. The report should clearly distinguish between remediated and outstanding issues and include both tester sign-off and management response. Reports must be version controlled and stored securely, as they contain sensitive data that could expose weaknesses if mishandled. Proper reporting demonstrates transparency, accountability, and professionalism, the qualities auditors look for when assessing whether a penetration testing program meets SOC 2 expectations. Finally, integrating results with the Enterprise Risk Register ensures that penetration testing contributes directly to broader governance. Each confirmed finding must be mapped to corresponding risk categories, such as data protection, system availability, or compliance exposure. Residual risk ratings should be updated after remediation, reflecting the organization's current threat posture. Systemic or recurring issues should be escalated to leadership or the risk committee for oversight and potential policy changes. Documenting these updates links tactical vulnerability management to strategic risk management, proving that penetration testing is not an isolated exercise, but a continuous feedback loop feeding into enterprise assurance. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Metrics and key risk indicators, KRIs, give penetration testing programs measurable substance. Tracking the number of critical and high-severity findings per engagement highlights trends in control effectiveness. Monitoring mean time to remediate, MTTR, by severity category demonstrates operational responsiveness and resource prioritization. Retest pass rates measure how successfully the organization resolves vulnerabilities within their SLA, while trending recurring issues over time exposes systemic weaknesses in configuration management or secure coding practices. These metrics should feed into compliance dashboards reviewed by both technical and executive stakeholders, illustrating a maturing feedback cycle between vulnerability discovery, remediation performance, and strategic investment decisions. In SOC 2 terms, these metrics provide evidence of continuous monitoring and improvement under CC7 criteria. Continuous testing strengthens assurance beyond the traditional annual pen test cycle. Organizations with dynamic environments should alternate quarterly vulnerability scans and annual full-scope pen tests to maintain visibility across infrastructure changes. Integrating automated scanning tools into CI/CD pipelines allows for near real-time detection of new code vulnerabilities or insecure configurations before they reach production. Bug bounty programs can complement formal testing by incentivizing responsible disclosure from external researchers, expanding coverage across attack surfaces. Evidence from these ongoing tests, scan reports, resolved tickets, and bounty submissions demonstrates operational continuity in vulnerability management. Together, they shift the program from reactive validation to proactive defense, a hallmark of SOC 2 maturity. Effective communication and escalation transform findings into action. High-impact vulnerabilities, such as remote code execution or data exfiltration paths, must be communicated to stakeholders immediately, not at the end of the testing cycle. Executive summaries should translate technical risks into business context, describing potential impact in terms of confidentiality, availability, and regulatory exposure. Each communication should be logged with acknowledgement from the recipients and follow-up actions tracked to closure. These communication logs, often overlooked, provide auditors with assurance that the organization not only identifies risks, but escalates and acts on them promptly and transparently. Penetration test results often uncover exploitable vulnerabilities that qualify as security incidents. When this occurs, incident coordination processes must activate seamlessly. Findings that demonstrate confirmed compromise potential should trigger containment and root cause analysis workflows under the organization's incident response plan. The resulting RCA reports should document what led to the weakness, how it was detected, and how recurrence will be prevented. Linking these records to CC9 evidence ensures that incident handling and penetration testing form one cohesive life cycle rather than separate silos. This integration reinforces the organization's capacity to respond to and learn from simulated attacks, closing the gap between testing and operational resilience. Third-party verification adds credibility to the overall program. Independent assessors should issue validation reports or attestations confirming that testing was conducted using recognized methodologies and within defined scopes. These attestations should explicitly state the independence of the testers and summarize the controls or systems reviewed. Storing these reports as external assurance artifacts strengthens the SOC 2 evidence package, particularly for customer-facing audits or regulator inquiries. Requiring renewal of external testing engagements annually or after major system changes ensures that findings remain relevant and coverage reflects the evolving threat landscape. Automation enablement reduces administrative overhead while improving traceability. Linking vulnerability scanners directly to ticketing systems automates issue creation and tracking, ensuring that every finding becomes a managed work item. Integrating remediation metrics into compliance dashboards provides real-time insight into closure progress, while scheduled validation jobs confirm that fixes remain effective over time. Automation doesn't replace human analysis. It amplifies consistency and documentation, ensuring every discovery and response event leaves a verifiable trail. These digital workflows provide auditors with easily exportable evidence showing continuous operation of vulnerability management controls without the noise of manual tracking errors. Governance and ownership define accountability for the penetration testing program. A designated pen test program owner, often within the information security or risk management function, should oversee engagement planning, vendor management, and findings lifecycle tracking. Quarterly governance reviews must evaluate open findings, remediation backlogs, and retest completion rates. Overdue or critical vulnerabilities should escalate automatically to the Risk or Compliance Committee for resolution support. Documenting these meetings, decisions, and action plans demonstrates structured oversight, fulfilling SOC 2's expectation for leadership engagement and control monitoring. Governance transforms pen testing from a technical exercise into a strategic risk management process. Common pitfalls can undermine even sophisticated testing programs. Many organizations inadvertently omit third-party assets, such as managed APIs or SaaS integrations, from their scope, creating blind spots. Others fail to retain closure proof or forget to conduct formal retests, weakening their evidence trail. Storing raw test data without encryption poses its own risk, as results often contain sensitive information. These issues can be resolved through standardized templates, automated tracking systems, and strict access controls over sensitive reports. Treating pen test evidence as regulated data ensures it receives the same protection as the systems it helps secure. Avoiding these pitfalls builds a consistent, audit-ready process across testing cycles. Cross-framework mapping extends the value of penetration testing beyond SOC 2. Reports and remediation records align closely with ISO 27001 Control A12.6 Technical Vulnerability Management and NIST Control CA8 Penetration Testing. Maintaining a mapping matrix demonstrates how these artifacts support multiple frameworks, enabling evidence reuse across compliance programs. Explicitly linking Pentest coverage to SOC 2 criteria, such as CC 7.1 for security monitoring and CC 7.4 for corrective actions, creates a clear trace from test activity to control validation. For auditors, this alignment simplifies review. For organizations, it maximizes the return on every engagement. Evidence expectations for auditors are straightforward but comprehensive. They include signed engagement and authorization letters, tester independence statements, and complete pen test reports with supporting logs and screenshots. Each finding should link to a remediation ticket, closure proof, and validation record. Updated risk registers show how vulnerabilities influence enterprise risk ratings, while governance review minutes demonstrate executive oversight. Dashboards summarizing remediation rates and retest performance provide an at-a-glance view of operational assurance. Collectively, this evidence package shows not only that tests occurred, but that their outcomes improved the organization's security posture. Penetration testing maturity progresses through clearly defined stages. Early programs rely on annual external assessments, often disconnected from development cycles. As maturity grows, organizations introduce quarterly validations, automated vulnerability scanning, and CI/CD integration for continuous coverage. Mature programs add coordinated bug bounty initiatives, red team simulations, and threat modeling loops that inform both security architecture and risk management. At the highest level, penetration testing becomes an embedded practice, part of ongoing security engineering and business continuity assurance. This evolution mirrors the broader SOC 2 goal of continuous assurance, where control validation is perpetual and self-reinforcing. In conclusion, penetration testing under SOC 2 isn't just about finding vulnerabilities. It's about proving that detection, remediation, and verification occurs systematically and with accountability. Scoping defines where to look. Independence guarantees objectivity. And lifecycle management ensures closure and learning. Automation and governance integrate testing into daily operations, turning each engagement into measurable progress. Through transparent evidence, clear ownership, and proactive communication, organizations demonstrate that their controls are not theoretical. They work under pressure. The next episode will explore how these validated controls and continuous assurance practices can accelerate pre-sales enablement, transforming SOC 2 compliance from a defensive necessity into a competitive advantage.